The Premier League is finally back after what I would say was a pretty brilliant World Cup. Yes, Argentina and Messi finally lifted a World Cup trophy, and what a brilliant moment it was. It was wonderful to see Messi finally get his hands on that World Cup trophy, but that's not what we're here to discuss today. No, today we are talking about the greatest football league on earth, the Premier League. Yes, Premier League football is back after a World Cup break, and you know what? I'm excited for it. We've got some brilliant matches on the first week back. It's going to be weird watching club football again, but after some good world football, I'm ready for it. So we're going to kick off with Monday's matches, and the first match we're going to look at is Brentford versus Tottenham Hotspur. So we restart the Premier League campaign with a lovely London derby. In this one, Tottenham travelled to the Brentford Community Stadium to take on the Bees, who just before the World Cup beat Man City. Both teams have a couple of injuries hampering them, whether that was in the little break or during the World Cup. But I can't say that either of the teams are drastically affected. So luckily for both teams, the injuries seem to be taken care of. As we know, Brentford love a shock result. However, I can't really see them beating Tottenham. But then again, I said that as Man City, and look what happened. So maybe the same will happen again. But I haven't backed them here. I'm saying that Tottenham should be able to beat Brentford. Ivan Toney has been charged by the FA with more betting breaches, so his future is very unsure at the moment. But I still imagine he's going to start here. I think he has until the end of January to respond. If it doesn't get overturned, then that might be the end of his footballing career. Or he'll have to move abroad. It's not what you like to hear, but it could happen. We'll have to see. But yeah, I still imagine we'll see him against Tottenham. I'm going to say 2-1 to Tottenham, I think. As I said, I think Tottenham will win. And that's mostly down to the capability and quality of their squad and the football we know they're capable of. When you see a Spurs team in full flow, it is a beautiful sight. Kulusevski would also be back. I know he was injured just before the break. And with Richarlison out, supposedly, could be a good time for Kulusevski to start shining once again. We know he's a good player. We know Tottenham love him. So let's see if he can kick on where he left off. And yeah, I think he'll cause some trouble for Brentford. This is Brentford, mind you, that have not kept a clean sheet in 8 matches. That does include like cup matches and stuff, but yeah, in 8 matches they've not kept a clean sheet, so it's not looking good. And then we move on to Southampton versus Brighton and Hove Albion. 7th placed Brighton travelled to St Mary's to face a Southampton side that are in the relegation zone at the moment. Brighton are a very interesting side, as you never really know what you're going to get or what they're going to do in their match. So this match could go either way, to be honest. Both teams have a couple injuries with both Livramento and Lavia out for the Saints, while Brighton will be missing their World Cup winner McAllister. Now this is down to personal reasons. I think he's just enjoying celebrating the World Cup. So he's not expected to feature in this match, but he could if he was ready. But losing McAllister will have a big impact on Brighton, as he was one of their solid players. You could always rely on him. He always pops up with a goal here and there. So they are going to miss him if he doesn't play. However, I'm still going to say 2-0 to Brighton. I think that despite Brighton's loss to Charlton on penalties in the Carabao Cup a few days ago, Brighton will be able to overcome Southampton. The Saints are under their new manager, Nathan Jones, who was previously at Luton, so he will have been working to implement his philosophy over the break. So I'm not too sure how the Southampton side will play. I saw Luton play last season in the Championship. They got a very jammy win against us as well, which, I'm not over. But it's going to be interesting to see how he implements his tactics on the Southampton side. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play. But we know what Brighton under De Zerbi look like, and I think they're going to be able to shut out Southampton, and, chip in with a couple goals here and there. So yeah, I'm backing the Seagulls in this one, 2-0. And then we move on to Leicester City versus Newcastle United. Now Newcastle are currently flying high in the league and have not been hit with any injury problems, whereas Leicester City, they're just out of the top half, and they are without a few players such as James Justin and Soyuncu. Just to name a few, there are obviously others, but those are the big names that stick out to me. Both teams were in good form up until the break, and I'll be looking to continue that when the Premier League restarts on Monday. Newcastle, we know they've had a great season so far. They are sitting in 3rd in the league, which is a very good position. You can't fault it. That's down to how Eddie Howe's got them playing football. It's a joy to watch. I do enjoy watching Newcastle. Leicester, on the other hand, had a brilliant turn of form after sitting bottom of the league for a couple of weeks and are now climbing up the table, sitting 13th as I mentioned earlier. And they will be looking to continue climbing as the league restarts, but unfortunately for Leicester, this is a Newcastle side which is looking very hard to beat. I'm going to say 3-1 to Newcastle. Newcastle are definitely the stronger side in this clash. Even just looking at the players on paper, Newcastle is the better team. But Leicester are still not going to be pushovers. They also have a very good side. But I think the Magpies should win it. It'll be very interesting to see if Newcastle can keep up their form, because if they do, they're pretty much guaranteed to be playing European football next season, whether it's the Champions League, Europa or Conference. We're not too sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the Champions League next season. They are playing extremely well. And then we move on to Crystal Palace versus Fulham, another juicy London derby as the Prem returns. And this one, it should be a closer affair than Spurs-Brentford. Both Fulham and Palace are sitting around the same position in the league, with them being in 9th and 11th respectively. Neither team has been rocked by major injuries from what I can see, and I will expect to see a very close clash. Mitrovic will be back after Serbia failed to make the round of 16 in the World Cup, but that extra experience of some top level football will have done him good, as well as the other various players on both teams which played World Cup football. I pointed out Mitrovic because he is Fulham's leading goal scorer, a very important player for their campaign, so I think that World Cup football will have definitely done him some good. I'm going to say 2-1 to Palace though. I think it'll be a very good clash between the two, but I think the turning point is going to be that famous Selhurst Park atmosphere. Fulham have had a better season than many thought, and they would just need to keep up performances, while Palace will also be looking to climb up the table, and I think this will be the match that can kick this off. I'm backing Palace in this clash. I think they just have a bit more quality over Fulham. Fulham shouldn't be underestimated, though they are a very good side. But yeah, I just think Crystal Palace may be able to clinch it with that home atmosphere. And now we move on to Everton versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now Everton, they're sitting just above the relegation zone, while Wolves are currently wallowing in it at the bottom. So this is a very important clash for both sides. I'd argue Wolves have a better chance of coming out on top, with a new manager ready to show the work he's done with the squad during the break. However, both teams are racked with injuries, so it will be very interesting to see how each team lines up. Iwobi was immense for Everton before the break. Toffels will be hoping he can continue that form so that he can boost their chances of survival this season. He's been a changed player under Frank Lampard. It is very, very nuts to see. Yeah, he's been putting in some brilliant performances for Everton. He's definitely going to be a vital player for them going forward, so hopefully they can keep him fit if they want to stay up. Ideally for me though, I'd like to see a draw between both sides. You know, they're our rivals. We're just in the relegation zone, and Everton are the team above us. So, I'd love for both sides to draw. To be honest, I'm actually going to say it will be possible because I think this match will end up 2-2. I think both teams will score, despite these teams being some of the lowest in the league for goals scored per match. Everton will be happy to have Pickford back, straight back from the World Cup, so he's not out of practice. They've kept himself fit with some of the best talent in world football. However, despite that, I can't really see Wolves or Everton being better than one another. I think they'll have a nice, they'll have a good game, a couple of goals scored between them, but hopefully they share a point. Then move on to the other Merseyside club as we see Aston Villa take on Liverpool. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I completely forgot that Unai Emery had become Villa's manager. Like, it just slipped my mind. If I'm not wrong, this should be his first league game in charge of Villa, so I look forward to seeing what they've got and how he's got them playing. This is a great game for Liverpool to come back with as well, as it's one they should be winning realistically, but as we know, Liverpool have a bottle. Villa's season has been pretty hit or miss so far, and that's pretty much led to Gerrard getting the sack and Emery being brought in. Now that is a big upgrade, a huge statement from Aston Villa. He wants to get them playing European football and will be doing everything in his power to achieve that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he runs this Villa side. As much as I enjoy seeing Liverpool flop, I can't really see them dropping points here. I'm going to say 2-3 to Liverpool. I think Villa will give Liverpool a really good game, and it will really mark Emery's return to English football, so don't underestimate them. But Liverpool have won their last 4 matches against Aston Villa, and I can see that streak continuing, to be honest. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see Emery and Lopetegui as well in the Premier League, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then we move on to Arsenal versus West Ham United, the final London derby this week, as we see top of the league Arsenal taking on a West Ham side teetering just above the relegation zone. It would be shocking to see anything other than an Arsenal win, as I can only see them picking up where they left off before the break, whereas West Ham's season hasn't got off to the start they would have wanted. They're currently not sitting where they would like. It's in the 16th place, so it's not looking good for them. Ideally for me, Arsenal beat them, which I think we all can see happening really. I'm going to say 2-0 to Arsenal. As I said, I can only really see Arsenal winning this match. I think anyone would agree, so they're currently storming away with the league, like, it is crazy. The Gunners are currently ranked second for goals per Gunners are currently ranked about second for goals per match, I believe, and have played really well at home this season. So it's really not looking good for West Ham, who haven't managed to keep a clean sheet in 6 matches. Yeah. I've seen some calls that David Moyes should get the sack, and I think this will only continue with this match, but it's top of the league Arsenal. Like, you can't really fault losing to them, as they are the best side in the league at the moment. But yeah, David Moyes' job might be coming under fire if they don't start picking up points. And then move on to Tuesday, and we've got Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Now, Chelsea will be looking to get their season back on track, as they're currently sitting 8th in the league and have been swamped with injuries. Really unlucky, to be honest. And the stats really aren't great for them either, with them being ranked 13th in league goals so far this season. So it'll take some Potter magic to turn around the fortunes of the pensioners. Bournemouth, on the other hand, have been playing better than many expected, but have also been hit with some injuries too. It's a strangely tough one to call, as this Chelsea side, while looking really good, have not performed at the level you'd expect them to. And Bournemouth have been playing really well. I think everyone had them nailed on for relegation, and look at them, they're doing pretty well for themselves. I'm going to back Chelsea here though. I'm going to say they'll grind out a 1-0 win. I can see it being a very tough match for both sides, and it could easily go either way. But I think that the quality I've mentioned of the Chelsea side will be the decider in this match. It's just not looking good for Chelsea at the moment, at their wider scope of the league. Like, they're currently not in a European spot. Most of their squad are injured. Yeah, it's not looking good. And then move on to the second Tuesday match, and one I'm most invested in, as Manchester United take on Nottingham Forest. My beloved Nottingham Forest travel to Old Trafford to restart their battle for survival, and it's a really tough match to come back to. Manchester United have turned around their fortunes under Ten Hag and are playing some absolutely brilliant football, currently sitting 5th in the league. Both teams have been affected with injuries, but Forest look to be the worst off. That could be because I'm plugged into Nottingham Forest news. I know like any player that's injured, what's wrong with them, and I'm a bit more disconnected from Man United, but Forest do look worse off for injuries. I'd love nothing more than to see Forest win at the Theatre of Dreams, but that result is not looking likely at the moment. I'm going to say 3-1 to United. As much as I love my team and I'd love them to do well, I can't really see us beating United. We'll be looking to get a goal, quite frankly. They've got a really strong defensive line on Forest. We're currently not known for scoring goals at the moment. That's why we're looking at a centre forward or a striker in the window. And yes, it's just this United side, man. They're full of quality, full of confidence. Ten Hag's got on playing great, and they'll cause us a lot of problems. However, I have faith in Hennessy to somewhat save our blushes, provided he doesn't reenact his World Cup shambles. He's still a very good keeper, and provided he doesn't get a red card, we should be pretty okay. But I'm going to say 3-1 to United. And then the final clash for this game week, it is Wednesday, and it is Leeds United versus Manchester City. Is this a derby? Because it feels like it should be a derby. I know Leeds and Man United hate each other. I mean, it's the Roses rivalry, for Christ's sake. But I don't think this is that, because both sides here hate the red side of Manchester, so it should be a pretty good game nonetheless. Leeds have played some brilliant football this season and got themselves some great results, especially that last gasp win at Anfield. The scenes of that were mental. Unfortunately though for Leeds, Holland has been thawed out and is ready to start bagging again. I do believe he said this was the match he was most looking forward to. You know, he was born in Leeds, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see the reception he gets at Ellen Road. But hey, he said he's looking forward to it, so you know, he might be on a goal-scoring masterclass and score 4 goals. Who knows? I'm going to say 4-2 to Manchester City. I can see this being one of the best games of the week with plenty of goal action. Holland will be ready to get back to club football. He scored in the Carabao Cup match, and he's probably going to score here as well. And he'll be facing a Leeds side that has not kept a clean sheet in 11 matches. So it's going to look like 12 matches after this one. Good luck, Leeds. But yeah, that has been my Game Week 17, I believe, predictions for the Premier League. I'm happy it's back. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to Forest hopefully surviving. It's kind of strange this, you know, we've had the World Cup and now going straight into Premier League football. Normally you've got like a bit of a wait before them, but yeah, we're just jumping straight into it, and I'm excited to get going. So yeah, if you're excited for Premier League football to be back, please do leave a like, comment down below any of your predictions, maybe a match you're going to watch specifically, maybe it's a team you support or you just like watching the football, who knows. Anyway, I've been O2GT, I do hope you have a very good day, and Merry Christmas if you're watching this after Christmas, and yeah, I shall see you guys in my next video. Peace.